it doesn't hurt to just try something. And I think the kids know that we are all experimenting with new things, and they appreciate that we are going outside of our comfort zones too and trying new things. And if it blows up, it blows up, and we'll figure it out and try something new next time. But a lot of this learning for me has been through trial and error as well. So I've actually been using the breakout rooms. I don't know if you guys have tried those yet, but they work really well. Instead of me just talking and feeling like I'm talking the whole time, it gives a chance to pause and let the kids break out into small groups and talk about a few topics, and then you can bring them back together. So because I found most of the rules apply in the classroom in person online. Because at first I did bigger groups thinking it would promote more discussion, but the bigger the group, the easier it is for kids not to participate. So I found like 3 is kind of a good number, you know.
Good.
I've done partners where it forces them to talk to each other kind of,
Nice.
you know, so it just depends on the group and the personalities in the group.
And I think one of my strengths as a teacher is connecting to students. So that's a challenge with technology, but I've erred on the side of making that the single most important thing that I do. That the technology, I need to address the fact that we're not in the same place, but that I can still connect with them through Zoom or Google Hangouts or whatever. And what I find is that that's what they want.
What you do in the sense of I set the stage for the week, and then I basically have been doing why is this stuff cool? So they have all these tasks they have to do, and I might for a minute or two like emphasize some of the content, like this is what that means and this is what that means. But then I've just been talking to them about why is this cool, and I do extra stuff with them. And we've been having awesome conversations. Like we talked about the virus. We're studying cells for 6th grade. We talked about cancer, and it just became this like open forum.
And I go back through the recordings to see how something worked, you know, because I can look at their faces. And, you know, interesting to see if they're like smiling or laughing or something, then at least I know they're present. And that may be, you know, the biggest thing I can accomplish is to get them out of this completely unnatural place for teenagers.
So we talked about connecting, I think, and then Darcy, you started kind of going into this idea of how do you create that formative assessment, checks for understanding, you know, and
Nearpod is great for that.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about that for a bit.
So Nearpod is, imagine a slideshow that either the students control on their own. So if they're coming in watching the video of this later on, they can use the Nearpod on their own time. But when I'm doing it synchronous with them, I have a Nearpod. It's a set of slides where you can embed, for example, a short quiz or matching. They have so many different ways of checking for understanding, and I control when the slides move in front of them. So they have the Nearpod up in front of them, and could be content, and then the next slide could be a little quiz on it, and I can see on my display who's doing what, how they're doing it. It's really powerful. And recently, actually I don't know how recently, but within the last year, Nearpod now allows you to edit slides on Google Slides.
Just about technology in general, and this is since, you know, I first started teaching, and it essentially is this: if you think you should be able to do something, like, you know, it'd be great if the kids could do blank, or if I could do blank, then there is an extremely high probability that that's already the case, and that someone has made that, and it's out there, and there's a way to do it, and all you have to do is, you know, put that little bit of extra time of finding that resource.
Really daunting if you're going into it for the first time, and yet it gets easier, and you got to be prepared to have it be a spectacular fail, but that's how you learn. I mean, I'd never done Zoom before this started. I'd done Google Hangouts, so I started with that. And people were like Zoom, Zoom, Zoom. I'm like, Zoom. But then I did it, and now that seems pretty easy too. So I imagine that there's a lot of anxiety about using some of this stuff because it's not familiar. But what I have found is it just gets easier the more you use it. So.